Good morning for the Bristol Motor Speedway. It's a chilly March morning, but it's going to heat up here quickly. It's time to set the field and qualify for the NASCAR Nationwide Series teams here on the half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway. The first driver to qualify, that's Brandon Witt in the 61 car. We expect 50 teams to qualify here for 43 positions. The Nationwide Series races here at Bristol later this afternoon. One car has officially withdrawn their entry. Joe Ruttman in the 71 car wrecked yesterday in final practice. That entry has been withdrawn. Brandon Witt's first lap, 16.337. And Witt shuts it down and heads to the apron. And glad you're with us for NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying. Steve Burns, Hermie Sadler, and Jeff Hammond. And you know, Hermie, we've had 53 nationwide races here at Bristol. And a lot of places, it doesn't really matter where you start the race. But here it does. 33 of the races here have been won from a top 10 starting position.
Steve, I don't think it's anywhere we go on the circuit that qualifying is more important than it is at Bristol, because it's a half-mile racetrack. And if you start in the back of the field, you're basically a half a lap down when the guys take the green flag. And we talked yesterday all day long about what's your game plan for this race, being patient, picking your spot, Jeff Hammond. And if you start in the back and see that leader coming, that can really change your outlook on this race and maybe cause yourself to get in trouble.
Yeah, and that's the reason why this morning I think is so important. As you watch right now, Michael Annett, 15 car, he's on the track right now, hopefully going to get a good starting spot today. But for these guys like Carl Edwards, Kevin Harvick, guys you really kind of look at maybe having an opportunity to win this race, they know that starting up front is going to be a premium. So if you're somebody, because yesterday, you think about Carl Edwards, for example, had a really bad qualifying effort as far as the Sprint Cup was concerned, so he's got to start deep in the field. That works on you mentally. You don't have a lot of time here to start thinking about it. Short race, everything happens real fast. Critical decisions are going to be made based off of where you start this race, I think, today. So that now puts the emphasis back on the driver. Don't you mess it up come time for qualifying. I got the car right for you.
And not to mention that, in addition to that, Steve, not only bad track position on the racetrack, but really 4 good pit stalls on this pit road. The ends of the front stretch, the ends of the back stretch. So the top 4 will have premium picks as far as pit road.
Well, Hermie, a moment ago, Jeff referenced Carl Edwards. He was fastest in final practice. That guy right there, Jason Keller in the 27, he was second quick yesterday.
Yeah, he had a great day yesterday. See you lap 2. See if we can find a trend going. Jason Keller does pick up on his second lap. Picked up 4 tenths, Jeff.
And I was getting ready to say, I think we're already seeing a trend, because yesterday in qualifying for the Sprint Cup cars, they didn't have a lot of cars pick up that much on the second lap. And we've already saw all 3 of our first cars go out and pick up on their second lap. Big pickup from first lap at 15.74 for Keller to a 15.35. So getting some heat in these tires is really paying off, I think, early this morning. Cold racetrack, cold tires, not matching up. Get a little bit of heat in the tires, and all of a sudden they start gripping.
Yeah, I was going to say, that would be a concern of mine going out early this morning is the fact of the racetrack being too cold. And we saw a lot of guys yesterday struggling for grip. And that's maybe why so far these early cars, second lap is faster. Get a little heat, a little air pressure built up. Great lap for Jason Keller on lap 2.
Brad Keselowski won here in August, the night race. And he started 37th, which totally goes against what we just said in our fancy little open. Well, it can be done, but it's tough.
It's just, you don't want to.
That's right.
Again, what I was making a mention about, just the mental part of it, you know, when you qualify bad, you start thinking about it, it takes you off your game, I think. Second lap right there for Brad Keselowski puts him up second quickest right now in behind Jason Keller. And right quick, going back to Keller one more time, remember, Jason Keller at one time, he was one of the best guys ever when it came to concrete racetracks. Dover, Nashville, Bristol, he could get around this place.
Keller has a win and a pole here at Bristol.
He's got 3 poles.
Yeah,
3 poles here at Bristol. I mean, so he definitely knows how to get around this racetrack.
Kind of like not a surprise to see him up there at the front.
Well, speaking of getting around this place, Kenny Wallace, the shy one. It's pretty good, Jeff.
I've been working with you.
That's good. I like that.
I've been trying to pay attention.
You got a little bit loose right there coming off turn 2, Jeff. But we've seen the guys using their first lap to get a little heat in the tires. We'll see if he can get see what he comes up with on lap 1, and if he also picks up on lap 2.
Kenny got a win here back in '94. And I tell you, he's finished in the top 10. Is pretty amazing here.
He likes this
18
racetrack.
times.
Sat on the pole, won a race. Didn't pick up as much as I thought he would.
He picked up a couple tenths, but didn't move up the leaderboard. So,
No,
but he had a good car yesterday as far as in race trim. So hopefully he can. Has got a little something better for a longer run here today.
Bob Dillner standing by with our quickest driver thus far.
That's right, Jason Keller, very fast, but going out early. How's that going to bode for your chances at the pole?
I don't know. I mean, there's some really fast cars. We saw that yesterday. But, you know, as a driver, you will always want to qualify faster than you practiced, and that's what we did today. Now, what the track positions conditions do, I don't know. But Scott Brand tissue car, just you know, things are going well right now. You know, Kleenex come on board. It's their 15th year in the sport, so got a lot of good things. Got a fast race car. I told him, I mean, second lap on the racetrack, I said, man, this car's fast. So we'll see how it goes.
And Wendy, that win for Jason Keller came back in 1999.
Thanks, Bob. The last time Kevin Harvick started P1 here in the Nationwide Series at Bristol was 2006. Kevin, how important is it to start up front at this racetrack, because this is so unpredictable here?
Yeah, it's important to start up front. I don't know about on the pole. I don't ever seem to have the results we need when we start on the pole. But our Armour Chevrolet has been pretty good in practice, and we'll see what happens in qualifying.
All right, good luck to Kevin Harvick sporting some blue colors this weekend.
Kevin Harvick gets around this place great, Wendy. 4 wins for Kevin Harvick here at the Bristol Motor Speedway in Nationwide Series competition.
Yeah, he and Morgan Shepherd, believe it or not, are
Yep.
the only 4-time winners here in the Nationwide Series.
Mike Bliss in the 1 car was scheduled to go out 4th, and he is headed out right now. They're trying to get his window net fastened. Former Truck Series champion takes to the high banks. Hermie, what on the warm-up lap, what's important here?
Well, like it is everywhere else, it's important getting off turn 4 right here, Steve, to get to that green flag at the start-finish line. So it's really difficult to concentrate on that and trying to make sure you've got plenty of heat in your tires. But you can learn a lot about what kind of race car you've got getting to turns 3 and 4 to get to the green flag.
2 top 5 finishes for Bliss here at Bristol and 9 Nationwide Series starts.
But you know what's so funny about that, Steve? He's never led a lap here. You would think this would be the kind of racetrack that Mike Bliss would just really, I mean, just chew up. But he has never led a lap here.
Really loose getting into turn 3.
Yes, he was. The front end was all over the racetrack.
Let's go back to Bob.
Mike Bliss a little loose on the racetrack. Let's find out how Kenny Wallace's car was. How about it?
Just a little bit free. You know, a little bit too free to really go as fast as I wanted to go. I felt like I got everything I could get, but track's really fast this morning. I like that, but I got the car set up, you know, for the heat, for the car to turn. So we'll see what the U.S. Border Patrol Chevrolet has.
All right, Kenny Wallace, he loves this racetrack, guys.
All right, thank you very much, Bob Dillner.
We got to remember this is an impound race, as most of these nationwide races are, and these guys, Steve, have got to be prepared for the long run. 300 laps, but you know, if you got to have your car free in the short run to be good at the long run. So that's what these guys, including Kenny Wallace, are facing as far as qualifying, as Joey Logano is now on the racetrack. He's 5th on lap 1, Steve.
Logano, the 7th driver to qualify, and again, we expect 50 to clock in here. And he shuts it down. 5th, good enough for Logano. Jason Keller, the veteran, still the fastest. We'll take a break and be right back to Bristol Motor Speedway. Speed's presentation of NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying from Bristol is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance, the official auto insurance provider of NASCAR, and by Touch of Gray from Just 4 Men. Get you caught up on a couple of drivers who have qualified while we were away. Kenny Hendrick in the 42 car. Outstanding effort by Hendrick. He is 2nd overall right now to Jason Keller. Trevor Bain, just 18 years old, out of Knoxville, Tennessee, in the 52, 7th overall. And the ageless one, Morgan Shepherd, a 4-time winner here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Shepherd 9th out of 10 drivers. That gets you caught up now. We have the 11 car driven by Scott Lagasse on the racetrack.
Really a great effort by Kenny Hendrick. I mean, Jeff talked about how good he looked in the middle of the corner. Scott Lagacy, not a great first lap, a little bit loose. We'll see what he does on lap 2. And he picks it up to 4th, Jeff.
Yeah, his car really looked like it came around on the second lap.
15:59. Sorry, I left you at 10th out there, I think. All right. It's good, man. We improved from yesterday. That's all we need to do.
And I think we've already talked about that. When you come out and you can do better than what you practiced at and feel like, you've lived up to, what the car's potential is, especially if the team feels like you've done it, don't worry about it, driver. It'll be okay.
That's what Jason Keller said. We interviewed him. He said, we always want to pick up from qualifying from where we were in practice. And if you can do that, it may not always be enough for the pole, but you're headed in the right direction.
1994 Nationwide Series champion David Green on the racetrack, driving a Toyota.
And he won a race here at Bristol. Did y'all ask Mark Martin about that on trackside?
Yeah, we did. Mark Martin said, I've done a lot of stupid stuff.
That's got to be in the top 5 because Mark hadn't done a whole lot of stupid things that I've ever seen.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we had to shut him and Darrell off. They were getting ready to go down, I guess, a dark alley we didn't need to hear about.
Lane, yeah, there's one of the darker
alleys. I was with Mark when some of that stupid stuff was done. It's like, enough.
David Green, 11th of 12 drivers. Let's go to Wendy.
Thanks for reminding me.
Stephen Wallace was just reminding me about his how he kissed the wall in the fall race here for qualifying for Bristol. Stephen, what does it take and how close are you on that line of losing control at a track like this?
Oh, well, Bristol's just a wild racetrack. You never really know what's going to go on. But our 5-hour Energy Chevrolet was pretty good yesterday. We sat on the pole here this year, same race here last year. We got a good car today, so I'm excited about it. But most importantly, tonight, my old man gets to race again in that All-Star race. So it's tonight live on ESPN, so I'm pretty excited about that, too. It'll be cool.
All right, and we'll be watching for our own speed guys. Jimmy Spencer's going to be racing in that as well.
Yep, Steve's dad won 9 times here. Another winner here at Bristol Motor Speedway. How about Carl Edwards? 2 Cup wins and a Truck Series win in 2004.
Well, he didn't get it done on the first lap. Let's see what he can do on the second lap. 3rd quickest on that first lap, Steve. He does do it on the second lap, but barely. He barely beats Jason Keller right there for the pole.
By a 10th.
Yep.
1/10 of a second.
That can't be too big of a surprise. Carl was really happy with his car yesterday. A little bit concerned with the vibration they had towards the end of practice, but on his mock qualifying run, he was right at the top of the charts yesterday. So you check out this guy. Little kid here is giving him the green flag right there, Hammond. Go.
He's watching the flagman at the top right there.
Look, he rolls his flag up, puts it down. Look, he's got it going on.
There we go. That's what you call NASCAR official in training.
Robert Richardson in the 23 car. He's out of Texas. Ran a truck race here in 2004. Carl Edwards now the driver to beat. Quick lap of 15.25 seconds, 125.80 miles per hour.
That's getting right here pretty quick. That's going to give these guys a good number to shoot for. But I think the track right now is getting a little bit better, Jeff. It seems to have that little bit of heat. First couple cars have knocked some of the loose rubber and stuff off the racetrack overnight, so NAS should be optimal time to get some fast laps.
Yeah, if I was wanting to have a shot at the pole, I'd like to be going out here sometime in the next 5 or 6 cars.
Well, tomorrow here on Speed, NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot roars in the Thunder Valley where tempers are hot and beating and banging are a way of life. NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot. Live coverage begins tomorrow at 11:30 Eastern. NASCAR on Speed. Be there. 32 car being driven this week by Bernie Lamar, a new dad. His first outing of this 2009 season. His first lap, 9th overall.
Pretty good first lap. He got off turn 2 really good on the second lap. If he can keep it together, this should make maybe a top 5 start right now, Jeff.
You're dead on it there.
Yep.
Hermie?
About P5, I don't.
Let's go to Bob.
Well, Carl Edwards so far has Jason Keller by a 10th here on the provisional pole. How about that lap?
Well, the first lap wasn't, it was more exciting than fast. The second lap was good. That's great. I mean, we got this Scott's Water Smart car, and it's a Scott's Turf Builder 300. A lot of pressure to do well here today, so it started off. This is a great start, and I think that'll that'll hopefully be a top 3 or 4. You know, there's a couple of really fast cars yet to go, and we'll see what happens.
Sounds like Carl Edwards is worried, boys.
Well, he's got Kevin Harvick right now on the racetrack. I think that's the reason why he's kind of like being a little bit cautious of what he says. But right now, Harvick on his first lap is 4th quickest. And the car just doesn't look like it's, I mean, it's not as smooth as a lot of cars we've watched. It looks like it's kind of herky-jerking it into the corner and it not really taking a good set. But
not a bad lap, 15:49, but he had a difficult time even coming to get the green flag. We talked about to get up to speed lap. This car looked like maybe it bottomed out or shot up the racetrack and really hurt his momentum on lap 1, but a good solid effort, 4th fastest right now.
Four-time winner. Four-time winner here at Bristol, Kevin Harvick. He's led almost 1,000 laps and had a streak of 8 top 5 finishes in a row here on this half mile.
Well, you heard him ask him if the car was loose getting in. It looked like that to me. It looked like it definitely was a handful.
Eric McClure out of nearby Abingdon, Virginia in the 24.
You know, I was checking on that. I know that's where the original Morgan McClure deal was based out of, but he's out of Chilhowie. That's where they got him listed for his home base here.
Which is nearby.
Very nearby. But I didn't want somebody in the local area to feel like we were not giving them the proper adieu. Because you got to realize, people say I'm from Charlotte, but I was actually born in Dorado.
He's from Charlotte. McClure, 12th overall.
I'm 60 miles from Richmond, but I tell everybody from Richmond because no need to try to explain to them what Emporia is.
Well, this Thursday on Bull Run, some teams resort to dirty tricks. I can't believe it. But when things go too far, the pressure cooker boils over and someone gets burned. Can't believe it, Hermie. It's an all-new Bull Run with Bill Goldberg Thursday night at 10, exclusively on Speed.
You got to watch Hermie.
He's on Brenny.
Brenny, that's right, Brenny. Jeff Hammond's best friend.
Was.
Until you blew him out.
Until I blew him out.
Uncle Brenny got a pretty good lap going so far.
Got a very good lap going, looks like, so far.
On the rev limiter there.
I hadn't heard those a lot.
3rd overall for Brendan Gaughan on his first lap.
Crew chief's trying to keep him driving it in too deep.
Brenny, sorry.
He looked good through 3 and 4. Let's see if he can improve. He might have a shot at the pole. And he does.
Yes, sir.
You heard him. Get you some of that.
Yeah. Woohoo is generally a good thing in the race.
That's what you do at Bristol. You don't have time.
What was it?
How about a 15-20? He's excited. Let's go to Wendy.
Clint Boyer is watching that grid and the monitors in here just like we are, Clint. It seems like the racetrack's getting faster. It could be a good thing for how you're going out.
I hope it is. Brandon Gaughan just knocked cousin Carl off the bump there, so that was a heck of a lap. 15:20 in a nationwide car is fast around this joint.
Can you do it?
I hope so.
All right, we'll be watching for Clint Boyer soon.
It's pretty good, Burns. You don't have time to talk here at Bristol, so if you're Brenny, you key the mic and give us a woohoo, woohoo.
That's a good thing.
That means you like it.
By the way, track record 15.093. That's set by Greg Biffle here in the spring race 2004.
And just remember, he's not here this time to defend his track record, but they're starting to sneak up on it a little bit. Getting close as we take a look at Justin Allgaier. He just finished qualifying 6th quickest, Steve.
19 drivers have qualified. Brendan Gaughan is the quickest here at Bristol. Under caution at the Bristol Motor Speedway, Michael McDowell got loose in between turns 3 and 4. Let's take a look and see what happened to the driver of the number 47 car.
He put it out.
That's right, that young man does have the caution out. Here's a look at McDowell.
Just gets loose right there on the exit. We've seen that a lot here in the Nationwide Series during the 2 practice sessions. Now qualifying here for the Scott's Turf Builder 300.
You could hear it, Jeff, when he got sideways. He nailed the throttle trying to keep the back end and off the wall. That's what you have to do, but he spun around and got the driver's side.
But I still believe what he was able to accomplish right there. If you'll notice, that car was nowhere near as damaged as much as the other deal.
Tony Raines also in the 34 car. Need to mention he is 15th overall, now bumped to 16th. And Johnny Chapman in the number 90 Chevrolet, 13th overall of 21 drivers who have qualified. Up next, Kevin Hamlin. Meanwhile, we go to Bob Dillner.
Brendan Gaughan a little bewildered by that qualifying run there. But first, I want to know, is that a technical term?
It's a cousin to yeehaw. No, Brian Berry and Shane Huffman, the guys did a great job. I mean, we were a great race car. Our Chevy will race great, but, you know, every time I went to qualify, I got too loose, and Brian did air pressure, and, you know, whatever the Goodyear tires want, it's kind of that mystery that Brian knows. And I mean, taking the 62 car, the black and gold paint scheme at Bristol, and still my teammate, still Kyle Busch to go, a couple fast guys, but we're going to start near the front with that.
Guys, to say that Brendan Gaughan is pumped up, that's an understatement.
It's a woohoo.
Yeah. Well, speaking about that two situations right there, Kevin Hamlin had his hands full when he was coming to take the green.
We've seen that a lot, Jeff, on the get up to speed lap. Into turn 3, same thing with Kevin Harvick, and Kevin Hamlin got loose and slid all the way up the racetrack. Really killed his first lap.
It really did. He wound up being 20th on his second lap, but watch this, folks. Going down the back straightaway, goes off into turn 3, and all of a sudden the back end, front end, back end. I mean, it just walked all the way up to the middle part of the racetrack, and that's usually where you don't get it back. He did a good job of saving it.
Another thing he did, did a good job of getting his nerves back. He picked up almost a second on his second lap, so he did a good job of putting that out of his mind, which is difficult to do sometimes, and coming off with a decent run on lap 2.
Steve Wallace has 2 NASCAR Nationwide Series poles, one at Nashville in 2007, and got his first one here earlier that year. As we said, his dad, a 9-time winner here in NASCAR Sprint Cup Series competition.
I don't think it's going to be quite the lap he was looking for, but at least from last time when he was here, he didn't crash it.
Yep, he picks up to 16th overall in his Chevrolet. We'll be back with more Nationwide Series qualifying after this on Speed. Nice qualifying effort by young John West Townley, Georgia native. He is 5th overall, and Wendy standing by with Matt Kenseth.
Matt Kenseth, who's filling in for Greg Biffle with a bump back this weekend. Matt, how is this nationwide car for you, and what is the goal watching everybody else qualify here?
Well, I haven't ran one of these things for a little while here, so I'm looking forward to getting out there, hopefully getting a good lap. We've been off on speed a little bit. Hopefully we get driving just a little bit better for today, and we can get a decent run with this car.
All right, Matt Kenseth may not have been in a nationwide car at Bristol, but he does have 3 wins here.
Lenny Jason Leffler in the 38 car.
He had a good lap, 4th fastest on lap 1, but he really tried to pick it up on lap 2 to try to knock Brenny off the pole, and got that in turn 1, Jeff, and the thing just would not stick.
Would not stick, took up off the top of the racetrack. Good job of keeping it off the wall.
Another look at Jason Leffler. He was 5th overall.
This is what you call going for broke right here.
Yeah, he went for it.
And that car started around. It's a good thing that kid could drive it with a loose race car. I mean, like, I guess all that dirt experience, everything kind of came in, run those midgets and outlaws.
And that could have been the worst scenario of all, to qualify 4th on lap 1, crash on lap 2, and have to go to a backup car with no laps on the racetrack. But that's one of them situations where here at Bristol, you got a good lap 1, try to pick it up a little bit on lap 2, and he crossed that line.
Clint Boyer was spectacular here at Bristol a year ago. He finished 1st in the spring race, then 2nd in the fall race under the lights, in a great battle with Brad Keselowski.
I don't know whether or not he's got any speed in this race car, but it looks good around the racetrack.
Herman, he led 243 laps here a year ago in both races.
Yeah, he really knows how to get around this racetrack. He's got a good feel for it, and knows how to tell his crew chief what he wants, and the kind of front end that we talked about yesterday, the front end digging. He knows he's got to get that car to turn good through the center of the corner.
Picks it up on that second lap, Steve. Now 4th quickest for Clint Boyer.
So it's Brendan Gaughan, Carl Edwards, Jason Keller, and now Clint Boyer in his Chevrolet.
Now, wouldn't it be kind of like a big boost for that number 62 team if they were able to sit that thing on the pole with a rookie driver?
I'd say.
Now, you got to watch out for those rookie drivers.
Jeff, it's like he said, though, no matter what happens, he's still going to start near the front.
Oh, he's definitely going to start near the front.
Casey Atwood in the 05 car made contact with the wall yesterday.
He knocked the fool out of the wall, and Newton Moore and that entire 05 team right there did an outstanding job of putting this thing back together.
Now, see, I was being nice. I said made contact, and Hammond jumps in with knock the fool. No, he has to say knock the fool out of the wall.
Well, he did.
These guys deserve a lot of credit. Newton Moore and his craft for getting this car back together. and just getting on the racetrack, much less being competitive. And it's not a bad lap for all these guys that went through. He's 23rd fastest, so good job by all the guys on the 05 team to get this car repaired and get Casey Atwood back on the racetrack.
What expected, sir?
Want to mention too, we talked, Jeff, we talked about it on trackside last night, how close the competition is here at Bristol. The top 15 cars separated by just 0.4 of a second.
I'd be watching Brady up on top of that truck. He might be so excited, Jeff, he might jump off the top of the truck.
He just might jump.
No, it won't make any difference, guys. He is so high right now, he'll fly, he'll float. I've been around him, and he is such an energetic individual. You would think this is the first time he's ever driven a race car, but he's won at so many different things. We talked about it, you know, basketball season, played basketball at Georgetown for John Thompson. I mean, he's just a competitive individual. He really loves what he does, and it's just great. Here we're taking a look at David Reagan and Roush Fenway's discount tire special.
First lap, good enough for 10th.
We'll pick it up a little bit on lap 2. Really got through 3 and 4. Really good. Lap 2, pick it up to 5th fastest.
From 10th to 5th for the young driver from Unadilla, Georgia.
You see all those hometowns so good, Steve. I'm so proud of you.
Hermie Sadler from Emporia, Virginia.
Right on. Mighty metropolis that it is.
It is.
Not to be confused with the Emporia, Kansas, where Clint Boyer's from.
Or Derrida, North Carolina.
That's right.
Wendy.
Well, Kyle Busch is getting ready for his qualifying lap in just a few minutes. Kyle, how has your nationwide car been? You kind of give me a shrug of the shoulders. What does that mean?
It's decent. I mean, I think it's fast for race trim. I'm not sure about qualifying here, but we'll see what it puts out here in a little bit. If we qualify up front, you know, that'll be best for us. But typically qualifying here isn't much fun to see.
All right, good luck to Kyle Busch. I think he's waking up this morning, much like me.
Well, Scott Speed's wide awake, I can tell you that, because he's in that 99 car.
He's the Apollo racetrack right there off of turn 4 right there. He's 13th quickest right now.
29 drivers have taken time. Brendan Gaughan, the man to beat. We'll be right back to Bristol. Speed's coverage of NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying for Bristol is brought to you by Camping World. At Camping World, our lower prices and friendly service will make you a happy camper.
Steve, take a look here at Dennis Setzer in his number 96 car. Watch his hands inside there. You don't think they're not working. Look at back and forth, back and forth. This car is kind of like pushy loose, pushy loose. He had to chase it up the racetrack. Again, this is where being a veteran, he knew how much to move the car around to keep it under him and keep it out of the wall.
Dennis Setzer, the first driver to go out who is not locked into the show. Brian Keselowski is the second, and they run very close times.
Brian says, woo, that loose.
That is not a woohoo.
No. That's kind of like, I got to catch my breath.
Yeah. You just heard Wendy talking to Matt Kenseth. He's aboard the 16, filling in for Greg Biffle, who hurt his ribs this week. A little boating accident, as it were.
Dock boating accident, yes. We were having a conversation. I asked him about it, and it reminded me I was trying to get on the back tailgate of one of these trucks one day. My shoes were slick, and I reached up to get up on the back tailgate of that lift gate, and I slipped and landed on it and broke 2 ribs. We both of us agreed it was kind of like cracking an egg on the edge of a bowl or something. It hurts. Oh, it's unbelievable, the pain. He said it's finally getting better, just a little bit.
Probably no worse place to come to race at than Bristol with bruised ribs. I mean, because you're on them for 500 laps for the Sprint Cup race and 300 laps for this race. So Matt Kenseth stepping in for him. Good run, too.
Yep. 4th overall. We'll get the latest news and commentary from SpeedTV.com's personalities and industry experts like Chris Devoda, Jimmy Spencer, Tom Jensen, Bob Dillner, Hermie Sadler, and more. Be sure to check out Voices of Speed each week in the NASCAR section of SpeedTV.com. '87 car, driven by Joe Nemechek.
Lakeland, Florida.
Lakeland, Florida's Joe Nemechek. Very good. So it's Brendan Gaughan, Carl Edwards, Jason Keller, and now Matt Kenseth. Clint Boyer 5th overall.
Hermie, I noticed you took that real difficult hometown.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to compete, trying to stay on Steve's level here.
Okay.
I'm doing like DW. Stay with what I know. I know he's from Lakeland, Florida.
That's right.
I'm not sure about Unadilla or whatever he said a few minutes ago.
He didn't say Armadillo. He said Unadilla.
Georgia.
Well, right now for Joe Nemechek, that puts him the second quickest of the go or go homers. He's 24th fastest.
We said at the top of the show we expect 50 cars to attempt qualifying here. Joe Ruttman's entry was withdrawn prior to the qualifying session. Kevin LePage, Kevin was good in practice.
He was good. We interviewed him on our practice show yesterday. Very happy with his race car, and he's a good qualifier. He knows how to get it done, and a former winner at this racetrack.
Driving the number 40.
Channel Line.
Very good. From Shelburne, Vermont.
That's up north, isn't it?
It is.
Good pickup right there coming out the back straightaway. He's for with a top 10 starting position.
Good pickup. Kevin LePage, 14th overall. Wendy.
It could be nervous energy, but whatever it is, Brendan Gaughan's moving and shaking up here on the hauler. How do you feel about your qualifying time? Will it stick?
Well, you know, I don't normally get to qualify up this far front. It's kind of nice being, when you drive for Rusty Wallace at Bristol, you got to do it. But we got a pretty big bullet to dodge still. Kyle Busch still has to go, and we all know what Kyle can do in every race car he gets into. So we got one bullet to dodge, but we're everybody's pretty excited up here.
I just spoke to him. He said he feels okay about his car. Does that make you feel better?
He can feel all he wants. Every time he says he goes out and wins 3 races in a weekend. So we'll see. We're hopeful. I mean, a 20 is just fantastic lap. And Brian and Shane and Troy and all the guys, I mean, what a great Chevy, man. It just, I didn't think it'd do it in qualifying. I know it'll race great, so that's a good sign.
All right, Brendan Gaughan cautiously optimistic, Steve.
Well, Wendy, Kelly Byers just hung a nice number on the board, 4th overall in his Toyota.
That's the first one we've seen slow down, I mean, out of a car. I mean, the car didn't look that bad to me, and he slowed down a little bit, but Kelly Byers is 4th quickest so far.
Well, knockout qualifying continues. Coming up, Stanton Barrett, Mark Green, and Paul Menard. Disappointing effort for Stanton Barrett, 35th of 36 drivers who have qualified here during NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying.
He had his hands full, Jeff. All the way up the racetrack in turns 1 and 2 on both laps.
Yeah, he's not going to be very happy with that, and it's probably going to mean he will probably not be racing here today. Right now we're taking a look at Mark Green in the 70 car. He picks it up on his 2nd lap, moves to 29th quickest.
He had the same problem on lap 1 that Stanton Barrett did, but Mark Green did a good job of adjusting his line on the racetrack and came off with a decent 2nd lap. Good pickup for Mark Green on lap 2.
And as we go to Bob Dillner, I'll mention Kelly Byers is locked into the race now. He'll race this afternoon, Bob.
And Kelly Byers very happy down here in the infield of Bristol Motor Speedway. Good lap for you, but 2nd lap a little bit slower. How come?
We just got a little bit too tight off too, where I could get back car in the gas as early as I wanted to, and had to get back out of it a little bit once I got to the wall. But all these guys in this Braun Racing Toyota have done a great job for me here. They brought a fast car. 2nd time I've been in it, 2nd time it's been fast. So it's a lot of fun to be racing here today.
Kelly Byers ran this car at Vegas, guys.
Thank you, Bob. That's Paul Menard, former full-time competitor in the Nationwide Series.
He's 24th quickest, but that car is nervous getting down in the corner.
We'll pick it up a little bit on lap 2, maybe.
Yeah.
Got a little heat in the tires and pick it up a little bit. So a top 10 right now, 10th. Good pickup for Paul Menard. Picked up about 3/10, Jeff.
Good effort by him.
Nice effort considering it's his first Nationwide Series race of 2009. Matt Kenseth now locked in.
A little bit free in.
I would concur with that assessment of being free in. It's Paul Menard letting his crew know what the car felt like, but should be pretty good for the race.
Yeah, that's a challenge you have with these impound races, trying to find the right balance. You want to be able to have a fast car that you can really attack the racetrack with for qualifying, but something that's not going to get too tight on you in the race and cause you to fall back. Scott Wimmer on the racetrack there, Bernsey.
Wausau, Wisconsin's Scott Wimmer. Wimmer will be followed by Danny O'Quinn Jr., Kyle Busch, and Steve Grissom.
He hopes he doesn't get fired.
It's not a Freudian slip.
Steve, you're a trained professional.
The last time he won a race, guys, He was at Nashville on the concrete racetrack.
Paul Menard is now locked in. Wimmer 25th overall. And as we said, we expect 50 cars to qualify, which means 7 will go home. Big field here at Bristol.
Everybody wants to race at Bristol because it's so much fun. Right, Hermie?
It can be.
It can be not so much fun.
It can be. This is one of those classic places where if you got a good handling race car, it can be competitive. There's no place more fun on the circuit. But if your stuff is off, it don't have to be off much, just a little bit, a half a tenth to a tenth of a lap, no way to hide.
Exactly. Danny O'Quinn Jr., Coburn, Virginia.
Just locks himself in right there on the second lap.
16th overall.
Good lap.
Yeah, a big man, as you say, from Coburn, Virginia.
He is a big boy.
Isn't that where Kenny Childers was from? Used to own
I'm not sure.
The coal miner that Harry Gant drove for in the beginning.
I'm not sure about that, Jeff Haney.
You're way before my time, Jeff.
Careful, Hermie.
Let's see, we had a woohoo out of Brendan Gaughan. We had an out of Kyle Busch. Let's see if that sound effect works.
I know you've been up here before. I have too. You get up there, you don't know what to watch. You watch the race car, you watch the scoring monitor. You know, you try to critique the lap. First lap, 1550s, 13th quickest, and that's got to make you feel a little bit better because, man, that's a big leap right there of 3/10 he's going to make up. But look at that corner move. Second quickest right now is up in that top 5. It's going to be close.
I think it's going to hold him off. Brenny's going to hold him off. 4th.
He knows that was a good one to dodge. Brendan Gaughan still on the pole here at Bristol, but plenty of drivers yet to qualify. Speed's presentation of NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying from Bristol is brought to you by AutoZone, the auto parts experts. Get in the zone, AutoZone, and by Toyota. For the latest Toyota racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. And Benny Gordon, Brendan Gaughan celebrating what he thinks might be a pole position. While we were away, Benny Gordon qualified in the 25th position, and that bumps Stanton Barrett out of the field. Also, Brian Keselowski has just been bumped out of the field as well.
And unfortunately for Curtis Davis, he did bump Brian Keselowski out, but he put himself on the hot seat.
He is on the hot seat. Curtis Davis, 35th overall, and the next driver, as Jeff said, who is in jeopardy of not making this race. Meanwhile, the 02 car is wheeled by Andy Ponstein.
He's running a little bit of a line that's a little bit up in the middle of the racetrack compared to a lot of guys right now, Hermie.
Yeah, especially 1 and 2. I'm not sure if that was by design, a car just lead up the racetrack, but
it don't matter. Got him in the race. Right now on that first lap, that was good enough for 27th quickest. Puts himself in the field and puts Curtis Davis now on the truck.
He's still after it, Jeff. Going to pick up a little bit of time here on lap 2, it looks like. Up to 24th of 15:63. Good pickup. Good run.
So Brendan Gaughan still the man to beat. Qualifying winding down here at Bristol. Silver Spring, Maryland's Mark Davis has bumped Mark Green out of the show. So Dennis Setzer, matter of fact, Dennis Setzer, Mark Green, Curtis Davis, Brian Keselowski, and Stanton Barrett officially bumped out. 91 car wheeled by Terry Cook.
And Terry Cook winds up 32nd, which allows Scott Wimmer, who's in the 30th qualifying position, to be locked into the show. Yep. And we're down to
Brad Teague and Mike Harmon.
Right.
I think It's a rule. If you come to Bristol Motor Speedway, Brad Teague has to attempt to qualify because he's from Johnson City, which is next door.
He's just like the furniture here.
That's right.
You come to Bristol, you see Brad Teague.
Or the you used to see the 75 car, Charlie Henderson.
Food country.
That's it.
USA.
It was red, white, and blue.
Well, right now, Brad Teague, along with Morgan Shepherd, they're both 60 years of age. Brad 61 and Morgan 67, trying to make this field. First lap, not quite good enough. Good enough for 43rd. He's going to have to run. Got to pick up about a little over almost a tenth and a half to be able to make the race. And he does pick it up on the second lap, but it won't be quite enough. That moves it back to 39th quickest, but still not fast enough to unseat Joe Nemechek. And it does lock in Terry Cook.
Yeah, Terry Cook locked in 32nd overall. Also wondering if Steve Grissom will make a qualifying attempt. But meanwhile, let's go to Wendy.
Congratulations to Brendan Gaughan. First nationwide start at Bristol. First pole. Congrats, my friend. You're still holding your breath. You can let go now.
It's been a long time since I've had a pole. 2003. And to do it at Bristol with the black and gold Rusty Wallace paint scheme, you know, everybody jokes and says I don't need 5-hour energy, but it sure feels good.
And this means a good pit position for you guys. Now what do you do? Now it's you got to look at the race now. Qualifying's over. Looking forward.
No, that's what I said. Our South Point Chevy was actually a great race car. I did not think we'd qualify this well. I thought we'd be 12th to 15th. And so for the race, I'm really excited. I thought we had a great race car yesterday. And I even think I can pick this one. I want the pit stall like middle of back straightaway pit road. That's what I'm looking for.
You're crazy.
And you're just figuring that out now? How long did it take you to figure that one out?
All right, Brendan Gaughan, happy, excited, kissing everybody up here on top of this hauler. Congratulations to Brendan Gaughan.
All right, thank you very much, Wendy. So your front row is Brendan Gaughan and Carl Edwards. So apparently Mike Harmon will not make a qualifying attempt. He crashed yesterday in practice.
A cool front row, though. I mean, two guys that really want to race it. They'll get after it going in turn one, Brendan Gaughan and Carl Edwards.
Oh, this is going to be exciting as far as the start of this race. It will be quite a challenge when it comes to that first lap, but we got some other people in behind them. It's going to also make it interesting because you got Kyle Busch and Jason Keller right there. Good effort right now for those guys. But here are the guys right now, Steve, who didn't make the race. Brian Keselowski, Stanton Barrett, Curtis Davis, Brad Teague, Mark Green, and Dennis Setzer all failed to qualify today.
And Hermie, it's such a disappointment not to make a race. You know, we see the excitement of a Brendan Gaughan, but then you look at the pole speed of 15:20.30 and Scott Wimmer at 15:78. Half a second.
Half a second. You can't see that on the racetrack.
No.
You can't hardly snap your finger in a half a second. That's the difference between sitting on the pole and being barely in the race and those that are going home. A lot of really good race cars not going to get a chance to race here at Bristol today.
So Brendan Gaughan and his Chevrolet for Rusty Wallace Inc. starts from the pole position. 9 drivers have won their first nationwide series pole here. Most recently, Cale Gale. And just for a moment, we saw the 0 car out on the racetrack, Steve Grissom, but apparently he is not going to be able to finish his qualifying attempt. So that does give the pole position to Brendan Gaughan. Nationwide Series teams will race later this afternoon here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Brendan Gaughan will lead them to the green flag.